Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're now tuned
Hello.
in to another episode of a Melanated Hypothesis podcast with your girl, Tori V, aka Victoria Littlejohn. And it's Friday, so you know what that means. We have another dope guest with a dope perspective. Andrea, I'm so glad you're here.
Hey, how's it going? I feel like
Thank
I
you.
messed up your introduction. I
I
have no
know.
home training.
I'm trying to get it together, but no, you're good. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for being here.
I'm so glad to be here too.
Yes. Oh wow. Okay. So actually I have your book here.
Yay.
Yes. Okay. Can we talk about this really quickly? Because let's
Thank
get
you
into
for the
it.
support.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I love it. Yanni Tree.
Yes. So
Okay.
is there any like particular piece that resonates with you most? Or what are you
Um
thinking about it so far?
So one of the like pieces that I really like is I think it's called self identity.
Mm, yeah.
And I think as I was starting to go to another level of healing from
Mm-hmm.
relationship, that was just speaking to me like, okay. And so I did read it a lot. I I meditated on what it meant to me.
Yes.
And so that's actually kind of one of the questions I want to start with. What what kind of brought about the idea to bring this collective together?
Yeah. Um, Gosh, that's such a good question. Really, I've always been a poet, right? So I used to be a traveling poet, word artist, and I used to do features all around the country and in Canada, and just had a really good free spirited like run, right, for years. I think I started back in 2009 was the first time I hit like the stage here in Atlanta, but so I've always been a poet, right? But I think with like getting women together and like, wanting to do something bigger, um, it just took like my love for poetry and then my, desire to work with other women and, bring us together, and have something. Yoni Tree was actually going to be an event. At first. But then, of course, like the pandemic and everything. And then I just thought, you know, actually, I want this to be like a book, So, I mean, it may still turn into something that is like a monthly event or something like that. But for now, it's a book series, So, yeah, it's just me wanting to like, have that sisterhood, because I don't think I've ever been in like a girls group or anything, of course, my family, but, I certainly wanted to like be able to foster those relationships with women and like empower women.
Yes, I love it. I love it. And I even remember just kind of sitting in on some of the lives before the book officially came out, and just
Hmm.
that sisterhood and speaking and the energy in the room. Oh,
Yes.
it was just so magical.
Oh, thank you. I didn't know that you joined us. That's so cool.
Yeah, girl, I'll be in there. I'll be in there.
You snuck in.
Yep. And
That's
that's
what's
what I'm
up.
saying about part of my healing. I was going through something, so I didn't quite have that voice while I
Hmm.
was going through. And so that's another part I love about the book so much is that a lot of times, as especially as women, we go
Hmm.
through stuff, and we, as people in general, we're not processing.
Yeah.
Especially in the moment, we're not processing, but our body is holding that trauma.
Hmm.
Our brain, our subconscious is holding that trauma, and so for everyone to come together and write and release that, uh, the just
Yeah.
the amount of healing that I know went into the
Right.
piece.
So that is a part right there too that a lot of women who were a part of the book felt like that was such a cathartic thing because some of them that was their first time ever being published for one. And then also, it was their first time ever sharing their story. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, there's stories of rape in there. You know that I'm sure you probably read. There's stories of like um, one of our co-authors. She is from South Africa, and she was like basically like a prostitute, like like a, I don't know what they call it, but like a sex slave maybe,
Yeah.
but so she has a poem in there about that and like how she felt, and oh my gosh, it's just so powerful. And it's like some of these women, it's their first times ever revealing these stories, so that's what made it more of, I think, a healing experience for them too. And then, of course, for those who are reading who can relate, or just even feel some type of compassion for women, I think it can be very healing for our audience too. And even men, I'm just so like, I don't even have the words. I don't know. I'm so grateful, I guess, for the men's reactions, because I couldn't even have imagined, but I've been getting a lot of feedback even from men saying like how the book has like changed their perspective on women, and it allows them to be more, soft with women, and more understanding, like they can see, our stories need to be told, so it's really really good. That was a good point that you made about the healing too, because just writing your story out, that can be healing, sometimes.
Yes, yes. One of the things that I like to advocate for is releasing.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I do it in nature. I got my background is,
Yay.
personally, nature, being wherever you are, finding a park, whether it has a reservoir or an open water like a
Yeah.
river, and then attack that trees. Not, I personally don't like the actual paved trail. Like I
Mm-hmm.
like it raw, but
Yes.
just for me, being able to see a tree knocked down but still see nature, she just decided to build all around it and just make
Mm-hmm.
that knocked down tree a part of her beauty now.
For real.
Like that is healing to me, to just see it differently
Mm,
in that way.
I love
And
that.
to go back to what you said about the men, uh okay, so I love that because I've actually seen when we were at where were we at the Top Golf.
Mm-hmm.
I seen the
Yeah.
reaction, like men's reaction to your book and to the like just you speaking about the book, and I'm like taken aback from it because I've always seen men not expressing um, compassion towards
Mm-hmm.
women
Yeah.
in their suffering or their story, but I feel like I feel like each piece was done in such a way that it gave a vivid picture and it helps the viewer see what is going on, and that kind of, I don't want to say forces, but it kind of puts you in a different energy where now you feel me. Like I feel what you're saying. Like you get what I'm saying? And so as a male reader, you can feel that pain or that grief, whatever it is, and now you're seeing it differently versus just me saying it to you and you brushing it off, or um, maybe not being able to relate because you can't see yourself in it. I don't necessarily know what the piece that's missing is, but I see a different reaction from your book. Does that make sense? Oh no, what happened? You were
Okay.
frozen. Okay.
Yeah, it was blank for me, so I wasn't sure what happened. Sorry.
No, okay. Okay.
You were
Basically,
talking about the man.
okay, let me see. I'm trying to make sure we're good. Okay, sorry about that.
It's all good.
So I was asking if it the reaction that you're getting from men, basically, to me it hasn't been typical, but do you think that it's um because the pictures are painted so vividly that you can kind of feel where the person is coming from, um and then that automatically kind of gives them a different perspective into the window of the woman.
Yeah, I think that's dead on. Like you got it. I think that's certainly what's happening, you know. And of course, I think right off the bat, like men automatically think this book is not for me, and they're right. You know, what I had in mind is that this is a book for women, you know. But also in my introduction, I said, you know, this is also something that men can learn from, you know? So I did make that part clear as well. And the men that do give the book a chance, they will see that. And like you said, everyone, you know, showed up and like really painted their stories, you know, in a way that you can really kind of like step into their shoes and feel, you know, what they went through or what they healed from, or you know. So yeah, I think that's definitely it. You so perceptive.
I'm just I kind of so I call myself the compassion coach, and it
Mm-hmm.
sounds weird, but I feel like a lot of times we don't give ourselves compassion.
Mm.
And if we can't give something to ourselves, then how do we give it to someone else in a
Right.
genuine way? That, you know, somebody can charm you for 2 weeks with all that they have. But really, for me, healing comes from having that compassion for self first. And
Yeah.
then I can understand why hurt people,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm like, oh, they haven't done their healing. You
Yeah.
know, have I done some
Exactly.
healing today? That's my strategy, my little quote.
Then it won't
Because
affect you, you know.
right, and it's a daily thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you was, you know, some people, if they wake up and they don't have their coffee, they're groggy. Like
Mm.
if I wake up and I don't have my meditation,
Huh. That's
right?
true. That's some real stuff. Like your day is off balance, you know. So
Yes.
that's true.
Yes. So I'm like, okay, this is something that I use during meditation. I read, like sometimes,
Mm.
like I like it's almost like prompts for me,
Mm-hmm.
because I just read one story. I don't have to read the whole book um today, because I'm reading one story, I'm processing that, and then I'm also putting myself in that person's shoes, and it
Yeah.
kind of creates these prompts. And I journal. I sit here and I journal about each
Mm.
one of the books, because how can I help heal myself through that? And then how can I understand a person who is going through that?
Yeah. And
So,
a lot of it is too, like even like people from the book, and you know, just in general, like a lot of us are out here, you know, every single one of us has been through something that was like traumatic, or you know, like every one of us has our story, right? And so many of us, we just keep going on and pushing on and going on with our life without addressing those things. And I don't mean just coming back to, you know, the bad stuff that happened to us, or the, you know, the negative situations that happened to us in our lives and revisiting those over and over, but I mean like addressing those so that we can heal from them and then move on from it, you know? So a lot of us are experiencing that, you know, right now. And I can say honestly, for me, you know, I've experienced that for a great deal of my life without even knowing, you know, or maybe knowing, but not taking the time to step back to see how can I, you know, get through this? How can I nip this in the bud so that I can see, you know, what better life that I can have for myself, you know? Like, so I can move forward, because there's some blocks here that I need to clear out, you know?
right.
So I had to figure that out. I had to figure that out.
So what did that look like?
Um, so in my case, okay, so there's a lot of us that are experiencing like parental trauma. There's a lot of people who have things from our childhood that were never, addressed. We've never forgiven people. Like we've never even like, we were just told to like just keep going, or to ignore things, or don't talk about things, right?
What happens in this
Um,
house stays in this house.
yeah. And so a lot of our inner child, that creative one, that free one, that one full of imagination and like fun and like happiness and like, a great spirit, that inner child is like blocked. That inner child is just inside, scared, right? Like locked up.
Mm.
And we literally have to like go back and like rescue our own inner child, and set that child free and let that child know like, yo, I'm here. I got you, like, but for me, I did have some things, um when I was younger. I don't know if you've read the poem in the book Yoni Tree, Somebody's Son, that kind of addresses, my molestation, um, by someone else who was a teenager. I was 12, but so just that, me not even knowing how to process that, and me not sharing that with anyone till I was like 29. And that wasn't even me outwardly sharing it. That was me writing a poem about it, right? Writing that poem about it. So really, people in my family not even finding out about that until I published the book, which was a few years later, which was last year, actually, last November, right? Um, so that, and then 2020 summer, I was raped. And that was something that I never thought that I could heal from. I did not believe that people could be healed from rape. The way that I experienced it, how um, terrible of an experience it was. And for me to be right here today and be able to talk about it, clearly, and not being emotional about it, still having, a somewhat smile on my face, that is a testament to what is really possible, and me still being here to be able to speak about it and let other people know that it's possible. Um, and the way that I really went about that, I didn't even know that I was going to be healed. I still didn't believe that anyone could be healed. But what I did was I joined this program. So I hired a coach. I invested in myself. And what is so funny is that I was seeing this lady on Instagram, right? And I really resonated with a lot of the material that she was posting. But it was talking about like, you know, attracting a man, right? And for me, I wasn't really, I wasn't interested in attracting a man. Like I'm not looking for a man, But a lot of the things that she was saying about like being in your feminine power and, being able to tap into that feminine energy, that really resonated with me. And just even to the point of how to maneuver, in this world, and to not accept, BS from anyone, those types of things. Like whenever I would go to her page and like see videos and lives and things, it was just like, yeah, I agree with this. So for me, it wasn't ever anything about like finding a man. It was more so it resonated with my spirit. And the spirit told me like, you need to be in that program, join her, her program. And I joined. Her name is Shay Your Love Diva. I have no problem sharing that, like, because I feel like from what I experienced, man, anyone that went through what I went through needs to know, right? Um, in 2 weeks, I was healed from rape. 2 weeks, I was healed from um, childhood trauma, just every single type of trauma that I've ever experienced. I was healed. And so it's different for everybody, right? But that was my experience. And it was just so powerful, and a lot of it had to do with like meditations and um just really really getting into like me, loving me, you know affirming me. And man, there was so many like deep meditations morning and night, like it's nonstop morning and night, very consistent and like very radical, right? It was very annoying, I must say, but I was very consistent with it, and I think that's what pushed me to. I didn't even know that that's what I was doing. It was just a part of the process. And I was able to be healed. I literally never thought that I would be able to forgive my rapist. I never would want to even wish happiness on his life or joy to him, you know? And there's other people like exes that I would not wish joy to. How bad they treated me, But I did. I wish joy to them. I forgave them. I did rituals that that released that, like that forgave them, and it was just like, wow, I didn't know this was possible, but now I know it's possible, and now I can like tell other women who were experienced like sexual assault and things like that, like, yo, you don't have to live years of being in this scared mode, like of being afraid or not trusting anyone. You don't have to go years doing that. I'm so grateful. I feel like I've been talking too long, but let me know. But yeah, that was my experience, and I was able to heal from that, you know, without even knowing it. But I think that I had to go through that, and I never would have admitted this before because I don't think that anyone should go through that, right? But I needed to go through that because here I am. I'm impacting so many women. I have, like so many women that are following me. And it's like, yo, this is why I went through that. So that I can understand and know. And then also be able to spread the word like, yo, there is something on the other side. This is not something that you always have to live through, you know, live with, always that being in the back of your mind. Like, that's so small for me now. It's nothing, you know?
Yes. Oh goodness. Okay. You
Yeah.
said some amazing things. I just wanted to let you go. Like first,
Appreciate it.
first I feel like releasing is so good. Like I like for people to get it out.
Hmm. Thank
Whatever
you.
the thought is. Yes, that's what the space is for. But two, you said a bunch of things that I want to touch on.
Hmm.
One, the picture that you paint for me is that you were given a different perspective on how to release the shame, and then how to gain. And to me, it's gaining the moment. But I want to know what you feel that you got from it. What changed?
Um, just from like the whole experience. I mean, because I'm still in the program, and I'm still in the process as well. But as far as like that healing,
Within you, yeah.
I got that. And so just imagine like how, I did that in 2 weeks. Like, just moving forward, there's so much more like for me to experience, to be greater, right? But for me, I just got I think more confidence in myself, more assurance. I I got forgiveness within myself. because I didn't know that I needed to forgive myself too. You know, not only just the people who I felt wronged me or whatever, but I needed to forgive myself. Because sometimes we just live with like guilt or like decisions that we made, right? Or like I should have never like messed with him, or I should not have ignored my intuition, or like I should not, like we there's all of these like I should have done this, and so we keep that resentment in our heart for ourselves without even like realizing it. But it's like, yo, I realized, okay, I needed to forgive myself, so forgiveness, self-love, um and just like more confidence, like more sureness.
More sureness. Yes. Oh, girl. Okay. Listen. Okay, because one of the things, like for example, um, a lot of times I'll speak on my ex. I'll just, my ex, or someone said it nicer, my once upon a time, and I like that.
Oh, that was nice.
I think that was at the dinner. Somebody said that.
That was good.
And I'm like, yes, okay, I like that. But my once upon a time, I'll speak on that because based on my research and my knowledge of grooming a person, um, the pimp mentality that is in Atlanta, that sometimes it's just, so I heard Chef Beasley say this, and it did like ding 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 in my head,
Hmm.
where he was saying that he just hung out with pimps and he automatically picked up the mentality, but his
Yeah.
intention wasn't to be a pimp. And so I
Mm.
say that all the time because I look at my once upon a time and I'm like, bro, are you a pimp? Like,
Mm.
but he acts so much like a pimp, and I know so much about grooming that I'm
Yeah.
like, bro, you're doing pimp stuff, but
Yeah.
his intention is not. His
Yeah.
intention is not to be a pimp. He just does not know any better. Like that's all he knows,
Mm.
and he has not gotten to that conscious level of knowing that this is something that I have to heal from to get what I really want.
Yeah.
And so on that journey, so like that's the backstory. But the front story is he does a bunch of stuff treating me as if like he's a pimp or something, like I'm beneath him, or whatever the
Hmm.
case may be, things that I know that I'm not worth. But I didn't know what self-worth was.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of times, just in the environment, in the media, self-worth was something that you wore. You buy it. You could
Mm.
probably get it at Walmart. You
Nah,
know.
I feel you. I don't know what happened.
Yes. And so it's only been on this intentional journey. I feel like in 2017, when my um, official healing journey started, is when I intentionally started living.
Yes.
And so only on that journey did I realize that self worth, like that healing, was a thing. Nobody is talking about that.
Right.
I mean, maybe in these days, but back
They didn't teach
then,
you that.
yeah, it's not a class that you could sign up for. Um, what kind of took you on the path to knowing or feeling like understanding that healing is something that's needed?
Um, that is kind of, I would say, kind of like a difficult question, only in the sense that I think that our inner beings know things that we're not yet aware of. Um, does that make sense? Like,
Yes. Do you feel like you called healing to you?
certainly, certainly. Um, I feel like just along my journey, along my path, even like years and years ago, there was things that I was introduced to that now I'm coming back to these things. And at the point that I am now, I have so much more awareness that I understand these things even more, you know? So when you talk about like the full circle moments, um, you have like a better understanding of things the more they're introduced to you, or like when it comes back around the second time, you know? Um, so yeah, I think your question was healing, did I attract healing or did I call it forth?
Yeah, do you think you called it? Just what you're saying, the things kind of going full circle. I feel like so often do I hear that like God will give you the same thing over and over, the same lesson over and over until you understand it. And it's kind of like that situation, like the universe, whatever you believe in, it's bringing forth the
Hmm.
same thing, whether in the same person or the same circumstance you're getting. It's the same lesson over and over, but when you wake up you see it completely differently.
Hmm.
um what kind of full circle moments have you had, that you've like
Yeah.
noticed, you've become aware of?
Just of recently, like so many things that I've experienced, that I've been experiencing, it feels like my whole life has been leading up to this point, and like every single move that I make is making so much sense, you know? So like for example, um years ago when I first started wanting to be like an entrepreneur, and I don't know if you're still there.
No, yeah.
Oh, okay. When I first started like wanting to be an entrepreneur, I was in like a network marketing company, and that was like my first little taste of like online business. But I read Think and Grow Rich, and it was such a scary thing for me back then. So it wasn't like I didn't apply anything, like, you know, I didn't, it was just scary, you know?
Mm,
But now reading it again, from all that I've been, you know, been through, that was like back in 2011, 2012. Now reading it again is like, wow, I really like, I understand. Like, this is like the perfect time, you know what I'm saying, for me to like go back and read it, because it's like everything makes sense now. And even like in the book Napoleon Hill, he mentions like something like, you might not be ready for this, you know? Like if you read this once and then you don't go and read it again, like you ain't ready. Like you have to read it more than one time. And like if you go and read it again and you don't apply the steps, you ain't ready. Like you're going to hear at any moment in this book, whether it's the beginning, the middle, the end, whatever point, you're going to hear exactly what you need to hear, and it's going to make so much sense for you. I didn't get that the first time around, right? But now it's like perfect timing, you know? And going back to then when I wanted to be an entrepreneur, I was an artist, traveling, you know, poet at that time. So, you know, I would do gigs here and there, but I wanted to have a business, but I didn't know what that looked like, you know? So I had been watching, I was a big fan of E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher. I would see him on YouTube all the time. And then I saw this one video of like ET, but with like this Sleep is for Suckers brand, like, you know, like it was like a mixture video. So that was my first introduction to David Shands, and I was like, oh, they out here in Atlanta, you know? Like, so I kind of like, I don't know if I went to Cumberland to the kiosk first, or just try to jump into whatever he had going on. Like I used to go to the Black Wall Street. I went to some of those tours around the high school, where he would have entrepreneurs go and speak, you know, to the students. So I would just talk about, you know, being a poet, you know, and like doing my gigs and stuff. Like, you know, I didn't have a business, but then you know, I reached out to him to be my coach, you know, and so he accepted me. But that was the year that was like 2016. I published my first book that year. And then he was like, you need to change your book cover. like, because I made it my own by myself. It was not good. Like, you know, But it was just, a learning experience. And like, I didn't stay on as a client because I moved to like California and, went through this whole transition. But that was like my first taste of like, okay, I know that I want to be an entrepreneur. I never wanted to work for anybody. But then when I came back to Atlanta, it is like full circle, like seeing him like still doing his thing and like doing it on such a bigger level, having the morning meetup and like all these people who like, are coming together, a part of this membership, and then with the social proof podcast, like being able to attend, all the events and everything and like getting back to it, like coming back around and like saying, oh, you know what? I want to actually like put my deposit down to be a part of like his mastermind and like try, even though I'm not, making the amount of money, like I really can't afford it, but let me stretch myself, like, and getting that type of mentorship every day from like all the people that he has supplied for us, really. And then I went from there to getting uh, a mindset coach, So I literally joined Coach Bryn, a Bryn Drescher's program, like, and that was super amazing, right? But I'm saying like this all came around for me like full circle from back in like 2016, first like meeting him and like knowing who this person is and me experiencing the rape when I was in California, and then moving to Atlanta that same year. Like, so I was raped in summer. My whole chakras were unaligned. Everything just messed up, right? I lost myself totally. I moved to Atlanta that fall. In just the beginning of 2021, I'm just trying to like collect myself, you know, trying to, get back on track. And like, I was always trying to get back to this person that I was because I knew that I was like an amazing person, artist, creative woman at first. I could never get back to that. I was never going to be the same again, you know? And then joining the morning meetup, that was like church for me to come every day, Monday and Friday, and like be filled with positivity, you know, people that I could relate to, like minded individuals. That was like church for me, that was community. So that right there, that was like my start to healing. Coming there every day, showing up at 7:45. That was my start. Then um, getting the coaching, with Coach Brand, actually joining her program, not just going on her lives and like getting the free stuff. No, actually investing in myself. Let me make that clear. um, and um, so what's so funny is like, this is why I'm saying like everything makes so much sense because I've always been like a positive person. I've always been a person who I'm into affirmations. I'm into, filling my spirit with like, positive things, right? But just doing like her program, it was a help for me because I lost myself, remember? Mm-hmm. I wasn't that person anymore. That helped me to regain, myself. That helped me to know that, I can actually be better, I can actually be better than ever. Then I went from her program to the coach that I have now, the program that I'm in right now. And that was like my completion. That was like my full healing, So it was like a process. Morning Meetup Church, brand mindset training. Okay, this is more focused, Now this right here, this is healing. This is mind, body, soul, spirit, inside out, just total love for Andrea, total healing for Andrea, total transformation for Andrea, and I'm still in this process.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I would say that I wouldn't even know Bryn if I didn't know Dave first, you know?
Right.
So, full circle. And I wouldn't even honestly really probably believe, because I've invested in myself before, but never this much money, right? I wouldn't even believe, like with the coach that I'm right now, I probably would have never joined her because of the price. I wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
believe that I could afford it if I wasn't in the
Mm.
morning meetup, you know? And I wouldn't be in the morning meetup if I never met Dave, you know? So it's just like, it's a lot.
Girl, yes. Okay. First of all, shout out to community.
Community, for real. That's what community can do for you. Like, no matter what community you're in, like, if y'all don't know about the morning meetup, y'all ask Tori about the morning meetup. I'm sure she has a link. Y'all can
Yeah, they
join.
already know it's in the
Yeah,
bio.
for
Stop,
real. Like,
stop it.
join her link, seriously, and you can just try it for $1. And I'm not trying to do a commercial for the morning meetup, but you can probably see how emotional that, I don't get too emotional that much anymore because like I've worked through a lot of stuff, but you can still probably notice that I am very emotional about it. So this is real.
No, this is really powerful because um we didn't meet in the morning meetup, but we met in one of David's groups, and
Was
it's the
it
same thing.
it was the
Podcast, no, the
content
content
creation.
creation. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, he got so many programs. It's like join one, man. Just join one,
Right.
like
Right.
because they all connected. You gonna be in the morning meetup at the end of the day. Watch,
Right.
just don't even worry about it. Because once you join one, you can be feeding
For
for some more.
real.
But that's how it is when you have community, good, like-minded community, people like you said that are positive.
Yeah.
They're working towards you. He put you on the stages in front of the kids, like somebody that's not trying to. This my community. These my people. Like
Right.
I'm the one. I'm the leader
Right.
of this.
No, he
Like
shares so much. Like,
yes.
he's
Like
so
calm down.
full of abundance.
Right. That everybody can eat and eat well.
Right. And
It's
he encourages to do the same thing he's doing. Like, he like copy me. Like, do your own
yes,
thing.
please.
Use this
Right.
blueprint. Like, I want
Exactly.
you to.
Are y'all taking notes? Like,
Right.
like what are you talking about? Like,
Okay.
but I have conversations with people who feel like I always go back to this. They rather take the money and not the dinner.
Mm.
I see you at the dinner all the time. Like, why are you not taking the dinner?
Right.
And he's like, this man was out before he actually started the dinners, but I already knew I was going to take the dinners. Sometimes I drive 10 hours to take the dinner.
Come on.
Like, because I know it's the money is in the knowledge that's in the room.
Yeah.
Like, it's about how much I'm going to execute. Now,
Yeah.
sometimes I have been known to be an information junkie,
Come on.
but in this new season, in this new season, I am pushing myself to execute. And I think that the healing shows up when you start to see the execute, the fruit of the labor.
Yeah.
I can know stuff all day, but I don't want to sit here and just tell somebody everything that I know. I want them to be able to see it. And so for me, I have compassion with myself because I know that I'm not the person that was talking about having a podcast. I was talking about it since podcast came out. Like, watch, I'm gonna be out there, y'all. Y'all watch, look for me.
Dang.
That was me for like 5-6 years. Like, what,
Mm.
girl? If you don't shut up, like,
And here you are now. Out here
right.
doing it, you know?
But this is how I have to give myself compassion why I have to say, all right, like, yes, if I'm looking at somebody like David,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we can kind of try to compare ourselves. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I want to build community for healing. I'm building the Disney of healing. I want
Let's go.
everybody to know that healing is a thing that we need to do from whatever we're going through, whether it's intergenerational, whether it's systematic. We need to heal on multiple levels. Really every day, but every 10 years you become a different person. So in them 10 years, in them next 10 years, you're going to have to heal from whatever happened in them past 10 years. But if you're actively healing, maybe it won't be so bad. But we
Right.
still need to, it's like caterpillars. We're shedding our layers off. And so in 10 years, we're going to be somebody different. And if we was working or building, maybe in this next 10 years, you're supposed to do it every 7 years, I believe, spiritually. But in this next 7 to 10 years, we should be kind of shedding and blossoming. So I saw that in the last 7 years, I was getting information or something. I don't know what I was doing,
Yeah.
but these next 7 to 10 years, I'm actually building. I'm executing, and whether that looks like boom, boom, boom in one day, or that looks like boom, I'll be back tomorrow. Boom, boom. Like if that
Okay.
whatever that looks like, as long as I'm still moving, I have the compassion, and like you said, forgiving myself.
Yeah.
Have you hit a roadblock that you okay, let's just leave it there. Have you how do you deal with hitting roadblocks?
No, that's what I'm saying. I think we all hit roadblocks, right? And
Yes,
that's where
yeah.
I was when I was stuck. Right before I joined like the morning meetup. That was
So
that was me being stuck, feeling like I'm stagnant. Okay, I need something outside of myself. I need a support system or something. I
yeah.
need people around me who are positive. And of course, when I came back to Atlanta, I went searching, David's name to see what was popping um, with him, and he had um, the community that I needed. So that helped me to transition into being unstuck.
If you were to like, I feel like that's a big thing. A lot of us get stuck,
Hmm.
and we don't call it that. We may call it going through the motions, or we may push it down and not realize that that's even the energy that we're in, and just kind of be on this kind of daily hustle or grind.
Right.
I know you talked about being in your feminine energy. Do you hustle? Do you
Do I
still grind?
hustle? I
Yeah.
don't. I don't like hustling, but I'm not against it.
Hmm.
So I think now I move about my life, and like my objective for like my weeks are to get through the week with ease. So everything that I'm doing it with ease, and that's my thing. Like if I feel like I have to force anything or like have to like work super hard, that doesn't resonate with me anymore, because I don't believe that you have to work hard to get any outcome that you want, whether it's money or attracting people or you can be so subtle, you know, and so in tune with yourself, that you can attract whatever it is that you want to you. So, I mean, hustling, it works, but I don't feel like it's not the only way, and
Yes.
it's not a way that I prefer. But yeah, I've had my hustling days though. Don't get
she
it twisted. But
said. She said, "Don't try to
I'm
flame
in a
me
different
now."
space now. I'm in a different space. Like
No,
I know whatever
I
I want is coming to me.
yes, yes, that's what I'm getting at, because you're talking about being in your feminine energy, and I think okay, we went all we just jump right in. So I'm sorry. I am so sorry.
It's all good.
But you've been dropping, you just been dropping bombs. It's just like I just had to just
Oh,
let you
okay.
go.
Look, I'm not even realizing this, but thank you.
No,
Okay.
yes. But one of the things that I know we didn't properly get into like who you are. And
I
so
know. I just kind of gave it to you, like, yes, I this.
but by this time you should already know, okay?
Right.
Like you should already know. But
But I mean, I think you're being able to feel who I am.
yes,
This is my essence. This is, you know what I'm saying?
yes, yes,
So I hope that by just hearing me talk this, past, I don't know how long we've been on, but like you're able to see, oh, she's self-aware.
yes.
She's happy. She seems like a very positive person.
Mm-hmm.
She's caring. She seems empathetic. She's, worried about other people and their healing. And, like I hope that you're getting these things. She's a creative. So that she must be
Yeah,
artistic.
artist. Yes.
And those are the things that embody me. Oh, she's spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
She's, um, who I am is not really what I do for work, or you know what I'm saying, or like where I'm from, what city I'm from, or those types of things. It's more so those things that you can pick up just by being within my energetic field.
I really like that. You've given me, because I want to be a little unconventional on the podcast, but you've given
Hmm.
me an idea to, because I'm awkward or something. I'm not claiming that, Lord. Okay, but what I'm I am like, I'm still finding the footing on the vision that is so much bigger than me. So
Yeah.
I just, at this point, I'm just acting. Just, oh, this what you want me to do? Okay. Um, are you available at this time? Okay. I don't know what we're doing, but if you show up, we're gonna do something.
Okay,
Like,
let's get it.
just that's kind of where I'm at with it, and it's working
I
out so
feel it.
far.
I feel
But having an organic conversation and you actually getting to know as the viewer the person by me being the person expressing myself, and then
Yeah.
you see, oh, okay, this is actually where their heart lies. I can get with a person like this versus me saying, yeah, I made $1 million here, or I
Yeah.
did this right here, I dropped this over here, and it's like at the end of the day, while those things are cool and that's what I do, who am I is a completely different
Yeah.
question. So I really like that. Maybe we should start to just get into it, and then you figure out who I am. If you're listening, she said
Yeah.
she was an artist. We talked about the book, praises to the book. Like, we've talked
Hmm.
about these different journeys. But then the other thing I wanted have you kind of define for us is being feminine.
Hmm.
Um, I think I'm at the journey now where I've reached a level, like I've done self-acceptance, which I think is first, and then self-love, which is actually showing myself, verb, what you do, love, and then self-worth. And then self-worth has like levels to
Yeah.
it, right? And I'm at like the first level of self-worth and not realizing that there's a luxury level of self-worth that I didn't even know nothing about. And while I want to move up in levels, I still don't necessarily, like, I'm still very earthy, and
Hmm.
like, this is luxury to me. But I
Yeah.
had a man tell me, somebody gonna see you wearing that and think you cheap. And I was
No.
like, I
No.
mean, not necessarily. Like, I can be like, take me to the Chattahoochee, I'm gonna be very excited. Like,
Mm-mm.
but at the same time, I'm not cheap. Like, that don't mean you can take me home.
Not at all.
So
So
how do you?
let me just address that
Okay.
because that hit a nerve.
Okay.
So, and then you could, if there's anything else you want to talk about, then let's do that. But first of all, everyone has their own style, different styles, right? And so there can be a rich woman here that's wearing a a crystal that she paid $30 for,
Mm-hmm.
but it's beautiful and it has meaning and it has healing powers within it that is more expensive than any piece of jewelry. that you can buy, period, right?
Mhm.
So like just the value of it is more, it's more valuable in that sense. Um, but then, you know, so there's different people with different styles. There's people who like diamonds. There's people that doesn't make you feminine or turn men off, or you know, like it's not one certain thing. Like everyone has their own style. And with my coach in particular, she's she's up. Let me just say that, right? And she wears pieces just like that. She wears pieces on her neck, you know, just like that. And that's her thing. And so that's why I'm like, for him to say that, he's ignorant. He knows no better. To try to tell you that or give you that advice.
Yeah.
Whoever's for you is gonna, you know, you're gonna attract that person for you anyways.
Yes. I agree. I definitely agree. When he gave me the advice, it was actually a jeweler that gave me this
See?
advice. And so I was taking it with a grain of salt. I think that's how you say that. Grain of salt. Okay, I messed that up one time. People laughed at me for years later. But
Girl, I don't know. I ain't nothing.
okay, yes. So, like I took it as a grain of salt. Like just, I wasn't tripping. It kind of rolled off my back.
Yeah.
But I know that I'm in this space of like, hmm, for the person that I'm becoming, how do I want to look? Like I know that I'm very
Mm-hmm.
earthly. Like I will climb a tree in a heart and just immediately. Like, I'm the type of person I'll come dressed to impress. And then after the
Yeah.
event be like, well, I'm gonna go to the forest and I'm gonna just wear this. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
just that kind of person. So where do I fall in between luxury and like just this is luxury. My copper, I clean it with lemon juice, and
Mm-hmm.
like that makes me feel good. That I can
Right.
see it's working. Something's happening. I got to keep cleaning it,
Yeah.
So I just feel like that. That makes me feel, that's my essence, and I'm fine with that. But I know that we live in a world that is very judging, and so I also take that to know, which is why I want to be able to switch it up when I need to. Like if I need
Mm-hmm.
to, appeal to the Americans or whatever, I will dress up. I will dress up. But when I know that I'm going to be around other like minded spiritual beings, I know that I can just, you know, do me in a sense.
Yeah. So I kind
Um,
of feel what you're saying. For me, I would say that I'm like in between. Like I
mm,
have what is it? Like a hippie type earthy style mixed with a more elegant, reserved style.
mm-hmm.
But my style is like crazy, right? But I always say like even when I like meet my income goal, like, that I want to meet and really like, get in that top 1%, I think that my style is still the same. It's just more expounded upon, it's
Right.
just now it's just more illuminated, so I
Mm-hmm.
kind of feel what you're saying, but I would never like, I don't think that you would need to change like how you're dressing or like your style to appease other people because you feel like
Yeah.
people are judgy. Like that's not the way to do it. I think it's always like um being yourself and like being true to yourself and like, just staying in your power because you are accepting of yourself and you're loving yourself. There's times where I looked in the mirror and I felt like I was ugly. Like there's a number of times, right? But like going through this healing process, like doing mirror work and like I really was able to like love myself. There's not a time ever, any day, that I'm looking in the mirror and I'm thinking I'm ugly. Like I know I look good. I know I'm beautiful now, and it's just all because of this healing journey, of me radically, you know, shifting, being committed to shifting my life. So you really have to like be comfortable with yourself and like love yourself, and like there's nothing that anybody, you know, can tell you like that is outside of you that will like change that, you know what I'm saying, like change that perspective of you about you. They're
Yeah,
just talking, and it's like that's all it's going to be. It's just going to be talk, you know.
exactly. Taking it as a grain of salt.
For
That
real.
that thing, that's powerful because just even in my season, like now I'm in a different season. So I built up that self acceptance in the last season that I was in.
Hmm.
Um but I know so many people, we don't realize that there's a next level sometimes. We feel like, okay, I'm good, I've healed, I'm here in this place, but now there's a next level, and at the next level I'm back at the bottom. And so
Right.
now I've opened this door up to, okay, the luxury woman and the value woman, and being able to value myself and value my time and value what I put in my body, value what I
Yeah.
put on my body. And knowing that I want to be somewhere in that, like I want to be, somebody said, class. Well, I usually say sophista ratchet, and they were like classic and ratchet, and I was like,
Uh,
okay, I like that too,
that's
like
funny.
elegant ratchet, like okay, just in somewhere in the middle. Like I
Hmm.
want to be able to just be earthly, and like I got all of this from the Goodwill, like,
Yeah.
and, you know, I want to be able to be that, but then I also want to be like, yeah, like Donnie says, like, you know, she wears a lot of black brands, but then she also may have her red bottoms on, you know,
Mhm.
being able to do both, flex in
Right.
both, and have the, like you said, the ability. Like maybe I'm not trying to flex now if I don't have red bottom money, but once I get
Hmm.
red bottom money, like I'm still somewhere. My class is still in a, like it's still in my sight. Like I didn't
Yeah.
forget about the red bottoms, like, you know, type of thing. And so what I'm trying to say, I guess, is uh I feel like a lot of people are building on that next level, maybe not realizing that they have that next level, and can go to that luxury thing. And so
Hmm.
maybe we get stuck. We do healing at a level and we feel like, okay, this is cool. And I feel like I was that way for a long time. Like I just, you know, I didn't like doing my edges. I wasn't going to do it. And
Hmm.
like I'm good here. I like myself. I accept myself. I give myself love at this level, but then doing the uncomfortable thing and then healing to the next level. That's what I'm trying to get at. That
Yeah.
is where I'm at now with finding a new style and saying, actually, I do want to kind of like, I try to put them down, they curl back up, but you know, like
Yeah.
now I want to attempt to do something different. I think that a lot of women now are attempting to let go of the jadedness that life has kind of put on us and is stepping into being more feminine.
Hmm.
And you spoke on that, so I'm wondering what your relationship is now with feminine energy,
Right.
being feminine.
So you said a lot of things within that, even before you just posed this question. So let me rewind it back a little bit and see. Like, are you familiar with women like Maat Petrova? Have you heard of her? No.
My patroller? No, I don't think so.
What about Miss April Mason?
Yeah, I know people.
Okay. So with April, her style is like really feminine, right? But I would say hers is more like luxury, on the luxury side when I
Right.
think about her, right? Um, my Petrova, she's more like, for me, she's more earthy, right? But
Yeah.
she's so feminine. So she's both. Like, so I don't think that, you know, there's a certain way that you need to be in order to be feminine. Like I
Hmm.
said before, everyone has their own styles. And the most important part, like for you, is knowing who you want to be. How do
Right.
you envision yourself being? And if you don't envision yourself being a earthy girl in the future, then yeah, there's a lot of changes that you need to make. But if you envision yourself being earthy and feminine and, you know, being secure and confident in that, because you can be both. Right? But that does mean, you know, doing your edges and making sure that you show up. You know what I'm saying? Like, you still are gonna, like, you know, be well presented, because you want to make sure that you feel good about yourself. So whatever that means, whatever you put on that's making you feel good about yourself, that is what is going to put you in your feminine energy. If you just going out here and you know that you just got some sweats on, and you know that you know what I'm saying, you're not really feeling good, you're not really, then that's not going to put you in your feminine energy.
But it's more than that, because there's a lot of women. First, can you define feminine energy? Like, what is your definition of feminine energy?
So let's see. I never thought about this definition. What I would say from my understanding is, it's just, you know, it's innate within us. It's something that we all have, you know, but some of us have not tapped into. Um, but it's just this powerful energy that we as women, we have, that we can basically use it to get all the things that we want, you know? So whether it's attracting money, whether it's attracting possessions, relationships, you know, business, whatever it is, like, it's a power that we can use um, to really attract and, like, allow, I don't know if this might be taken wrong, but allow anybody to do whatever it is that we want them to do. So yeah, that's how I would kind of like define it. I know it might still be a little what is it called, confusing, but that's what it is, really, you know. And I'm not I'm not a master um at this feminine energy
Mhm.
stuff. Like, this is like something that I'm still learning. There's a lot of things that I had to unlearn, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying, and reprogram myself um to know and learn, like, to really, like, get into my whole being, and, like, getting in tune with myself, my inner being, you know.
that's where I'm
um
getting at.
yeah.
That right there. Not to cut you off. Uh, you that just that part alone, when you're saying feminine energy,
Hmm.
a lot of women feel like it's something that you see, is how I look. And so with me, I feel like self-worth is how I look. And
Hmm.
so as I'm learning to put more worth on myself, then I value things differently. I don't eat free seafood or something, like, just why is it free. I'm good on that, thank you very much, I appreciate it. Whereas before I used to be like, okay, it's free, we live there, like, so just it
You are
my
crazy.
worth.
That's hilarious.
My worth is just a little different. I'm looking at life a little different, and I feel like that's the ratchet kind of wearing off. And not nothing wrong with my ratchet. It's nothing, because I still like it's still back there if we need it. But
Yeah.
some some things we just want to let it stay back there, and it's
Right.
fine. But I feel like that as I change the mindset of that, it shows up differently. Well, actually, I do want to wear today all of my copper gold stuff, or copper gold, my copper metals or whatever. And then, oh, actually, I think I want to dress up and be fancy and have a flair for the for the for the thing tonight. So I feel like that's putting the work on me and knowing that I'm worthy, instead of, I'm just gonna show up in what I got on all day, but
Yeah.
actually putting more worth into how I look and how I present myself and how I feel. But I feel like sometimes we can confuse that with feminine energy and
Hmm.
and the powers of it, the powers that be, because a lot of times we haven't done the work to unlock our feminine energy, and
Yeah.
so we just look feminine, but
Mhm.
we haven't really like we're still aggressive.
Yeah. You're right about that. There's so many people who are like teaching feminine energy too that haven't even, they haven't done the work on themselves, so
Mm.
that is true. Like they have this appearance, you know that is really looks really good, but really it is doing the work, and getting in tune with yourself, and being able to tap in. But I think what you're saying, and like your appearance is a part of it though too, because that's how you present yourself to the world,
Mm.
and it's really how you feel about how you look, you know that it goes a lot deeper than just putting on some fancy clothes or some dangly earrings.
Mm.
It's how you feel about yourself. So that's where the inner work comes in, and that's where you're going to be able to tap into, you know that power that power of like just being able to get the things that you want, being able to be soft and just let people be attracted to you and want to do things for you, and want
Do you
to
think that
help
is
you.
psychology?
I think part of it is it's science, it's psychology, it's um universal laws.
Mm.
It's all of that. I'll give you a story. um so a couple of weeks ago, I got pulled over by the cops. And previously to this, I have had some really bad police encounters. Like, I don't really like if I'm getting pulled over by a cop, I have a negative feeling, like a fear, like, okay, what, like, that's the
Mm.
last person I want to see, right?
Right.
I'm thinking like, okay, this is some BS, or like, what's gonna happen? Do I need to record? When I got pulled over by this cop, just recently, I was so happy. I did not have any fear um, on my mind. I was so at peace, I was so upbeat, right? I was just like sitting in my feminine energy, really. That's what it was. Um, and so when he came to my car, I was just like, hey, how are you? Like, so sweet, so nice, right? So kind, like, just happy, so happy. Like, usually I would just be like, what's the problem? Like, no
What I do
smile,
this
no
time,
nothing.
officer? Yeah,
You
I
feel
got.
me? Like, that's how it would be. But this time, being able to like tap in, and learning all this, I was so happy. And his reaction
Mm.
to me was like he reciprocated that joy, But I got pulled over because one of my headlights was like out, and he wanted to let me know that. But when he ran my license, I realized that my license was suspended, and
Mm.
I had no idea that my license was suspended, and I'm like trying to figure out how did it get suspended. Like, I haven't gotten a ticket or anything, whatever.
Mm.
But here in Georgia, they do not play about that. I have witnessed people going right to jail, getting arrested, cars getting impounded, like everything. Like the cops, this is, if any state, this is not the state that you want to get pulled over with your license suspended in, right? I've witnessed this so many times. And I was just like, dang, I knew that the protocol was for me to be arrested, my car to be impounded, like all of that. It came down to this man literally asking me, what do you need? Like, what can I do for you? The cop, how can I
Mm.
help you? He's asking me. He said, you know what? I can follow you back home to make sure no one else pulls you over. He said, and if someone does try to pull you over, I can just talk to them and explain to them that you're good. Do you know this man followed me all the way back to, because I wasn't going home, but back to where I was staying, and made sure that I got there safely.
That is,
And I never would have had an encounter like that with a police officer had I not, been able to tap into my feminine energy. Had I not been able to be more soft and more, just having that good, positive energy and like smiling and you know what I'm saying? Like using that to my advantage. And I mean, that was like a huge testimony to like me realizing, how much I've been changing. That's
yeah,
just an example.
that
Any
gave
other
me
day I
chills.
would have been in jail, girl.
No, that gave me chills. That
For
gave me
real.
chills because, okay, okay. So let me just break down what I heard. Basically, and I have a question too I'm gonna ask, but basically what I hear and what I see is I'm kind of connecting the dots here. So I'm gonna go through this. I'm gonna try to go through it quickly because I know I can get. But basically, men say that they want you to listen and cooperate. And as women, we have become independent because I'm not sure we didn't get into like the family dynamic, but for me, I grew up in a single parent, a single mother,
Mm,
household, and she had to do it all, which showed me that I could do it all. And like if you're not, I didn't, it wasn't bringing the peace back then, but if you're not adding to, you're dividing, and I could do it by myself because I got this.
yeah.
And that kind of took away that feminine energy. But for me personally, I was, my voice was stolen as a child. I say that,
Mm,
but I lost my voice rather. So it's not a blame type of thing, but my voice, I lost my voice as a child. And
yes.
so part of my healing was simply to rediscover my voice. And Atlanta has this great way of kind of pushing you out there. It's like you're gonna find it today. Like,
Okay.
okay, or you gonna get ran over. Like, and so I was trying to just stay afloat, I guess. So I started to find my voice. And I started to date, but I wasn't, I don't know. It was we never talk about it. But either way, I started to find my voice and date, and it wasn't at the same time, and maybe that would have been better if I could have did it together. But I got to this space of being super soft spoken. Like I'm soft spoken. I like to observe people and kind of let people be, but I wasn't really being the butterfly that I know that I am. And but with that kind of comes a person who listens and cooperates. But then in Atlanta, they got guys walking around with guns with 30 clips. I
Mm,
had, like, I'm from DC. This is the nation's capital. That is illegal. Like, you
yeah.
know. So different things like that I wasn't exposed to. So I came down there, it was a culture shock. I was exposed to something different, and then that kind of, I could do it by myself, independent. I don't need, y'all trying to hurt me.
Mm,
Aggressiveness came out. And once it came out, it was almost impossible to put back in. Like,
yeah.
even though you met this sweet, soft person who could listen and cooperate, once you brought out that like beast, if you will,
Mm,
I wasn't able to give that feminine energy anymore. But I
yeah.
didn't know that feminine energy, I didn't know that that was me using my power. Like I could speak up when I needed to.
Mm,
Um, I was a wise counsel, like Miss April talks about. Like I was the
mhm,
wise counsel in the back of your ear, telling you things that you need to do, the right chess move. But I
mm,
never spoke above a certain level. I when you come in, I rub your back. You get all of that nurturing from me, and you
mhm,
never seen the aggressive. Didn't know that it was there until I felt devalued and disrespected. And so I feel like a lot of women kind of go through that stage where that beast comes out and they don't know how to
Mhm.
do it. So then when they get pulled over or something happens, it's what are you doing? Like, I gotta take care of me. Don't nobody take care of me. And they don't know how to. And that's why I asked you, is it psychological? So kind of like bringing it back full circle. Um, we don't know how to say, okay, in this moment, I'm going to be happy. I know that energy is reciprocated. I know that my soft energy is going to set the tone for the room. If I
Mm,
come in and I do this, or if I, even if I don't have to touch anybody, but just if I come in and I create the energy in the room versus adapting to the energy,
mm,
then that is my power. And sometimes for me it is psychological because it's me deciding, okay, this is a moment where I need to turn it on. So my
mhm.
question is, in that moment, did you manually say, okay, I'm going to turn it on, or were you just in that energy already?
I was in that energy. Yeah. I
Mm,
didn't consciously think like, oh, like let me turn this on. I was in that energy and I stayed in that energy, you know?
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So now you just stay in that energy as a whole.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that. And that's literally the power of healing, being able to get back to, especially after trauma,
Hmm.
after so many life experiences that can kind of strip away that feminine energy,
Right.
being able to get in it and then stay in it through whatever else comes towards you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that so much. Okay, so I have three quick questions. I so thank you for being here. Um, just tell the people where they can find
For
you,
sure.
what you have coming out, what you're working on.
So yeah, for sure. So we've been talking a lot. You've gotten a chance to, get to know things about me. But just something else about me is that I'm a book coach. So I help women entrepreneurs to display their expertise and tell their transformational stories through writing and publishing their books. So definitely, especially if you're interested in that, you can find me at Andrea Kitten Perry on Instagram. You can reach out to me on my website at www.andreakittenperry.com. And yeah, just connect with me on those two places. You can see all about what I'm doing there. And also, if you're somebody, like I said, interested in telling your story and publishing a book, I do have a book writing and publishing program, and I am going to be putting out a wait list, which it'll probably be out this weekend. So, whenever you visit my site, you should be able to click on a link to join the waitlist for a free workshop that I'll be doing. So, yeah, stay tuned for that and connect with me. I'm also a podcaster as well.
Yes, the dopest podcast.
Yes,
Yeah, we gotta plug that. Okay, we're gonna
for
put that in the
sure.
description box.
Thank you.
Yes, because
I
this has been
appreciate
a dope
you having
conversation.
me.
Is dope a acronym?
Yeah, it is. Yep.
Okay, what?
So, back in the day, I used to have my own poetry group, and we would travel around the country. I would book shows for us. So it was called Dope Poets, and that stood for delivering outstanding performances every time. But now I have the dopest podcast where I interview artists from you know, different areas of art, whether it's literary art, performing arts, culinary arts, visual arts, all types of artists, right? So the acronym DOPES, it stands for delivering outstanding performers every single time. So yeah, I'm
Okay.
delivering to you out them outstanding performers.
Yes, yes, definitely get into arts. I think that is so good when we're talking about connecting to self and
Hmm.
healing. I want to bring to people actual ways that you heal. And this is one of the ways, by
Yeah.
being able to write, by writing your books, by collectives being together, by community.
Yeah.
Um, and then being able to discover each and every type of art, because we just think that maybe it's drawing and singing or something, but it's so
Right.
many different things. So I'm so glad to just kind of bring you this exposure. I have three questions, speed round for you.
Cool.
um what does healing mean to you?
Goodness. Ah, healing means uh, just being radical about your well-being.
Mm, I
That's what
love
it
it.
is for me.
What does healing with spirit mean?
Healing with spirit. Um, sheesh. I think that's a part of spirit. That's a part of your healing. It has to be, there has to be some type of spiritual element to it.
Mhm.
Whether you believe in God and you're tapping in and connecting with God through prayer, meditation. Him speaking to you through you, or if it's just with you using like the universal powers around us, the law of attraction, all of that. Like, so there's always going to be a spiritual element to healing. Like, even if you're like an atheist or,
Mhm.
like it's always going to be something spiritual. Cause even like doing rituals, um, getting out there in nature, all of that is spiritual. We're all connected.
Yes, yes. Like I talked about the tree earlier. Yes, I love it. Okay, and last question. What does healing finances mean to you?
Healing finances. I think when you heal yourself, right? When you heal yourself, that is like the start of you healing everything. Cause like for me, like I had love blocks and I had money blocks, right? So now all of that is like beginning to open up for me. And those are connected. So when you talk about healing finances, you most likely have other areas in your life that you need to heal in order for that money to come through for you like you want it to come through. So those go hand in hand too.
Yes, I love it. Oh my goodness. Yes, definitely. Yes.
You hear the
Oh
dog,
my
she's mad.
god. Oh,
She needs
hello.
attention.
Well, I thank you so much for your time. I know you are a busy woman, and we finally got it done, so I'm thankful. Um,
Yes.
Thank you guys for watching. This has been another dope episode. So make
Hey.
sure you tune in, subscribe, and follow. Until next time, make sure you do some healing. Peace. We are out.
Peace.